Real Father, directed by Joel Gilbert, a story of Reds and deception. But again, you got CIA people involved in all this. It looks just like him. And then there it is, because we've got Dreams of Our Father. I checked it when I got this video. He does talk about going to his house every week, and him and his grandpa having this little secret. And then his mother. I mean, it's her in these photos. Let's go back to this. How did you get these photos, Joel?
These photos from several researchers who have to go unnamed. They are actually folks up in San Francisco who use something called Usenet. It's these binary photo collections of all kind of erotic photos from the Betty Page era, from the old.
And now they can use face scans off the photos to digitally analyze. And I know you blur the folks out, but they're in the film. You've got some of these sources in the film. Absolutely. We also show that you can see the teeth of, even as much as the photos look identical, you can even see there's a match for the teeth. And we've absolutely established, both from the timeline, the house, the objects in the house, even the couch is an exact match to the couch that Frank Marshall Davis sat on in many photos. Oh, yeah. I mean, you've got him. This is incredible. It's Obama's dad. Well, let me tell you what this means, though. People say, oh, that's his dad. Let me tell you what it means. Obama sold himself to America as the multicultural ideal. He was above politics because his father was a goat herder from Kenya, so he could bring people together. That's how the story went. So people perceived Obama as a nice man with an inspiring family story. This film demonstrates that it is much more likely that Obama has a deeply disturbing family background that he hid in order to hide a Marxist political foundation. If that's true, which we believe it is, that means there was no improbable love that he talked about in his convention speech. We have a probable liar in the White House and a probable forger of documents, all to hide this political foundation, which is now revealing itself as a socialist Marxist foundation that Frank Marshall Davis himself helped to nurture in Hawaii and in Chicago. Sure, but just to be clear, Frank Marshall Davis, the same house, the same couch, he is an admitted photographer, writes a book about his porno, type exploits. Obama admits, or Barry Soetoro, that his grandfather would take him over there constantly when he was a kid. And then you've got the photos. I mean, this is open and shut. This should be massive international news right now. It should be. It's quite disturbing that the main news outlets, the so-called mainstream media, including some conservative ones, the only conservative site covering it is actually the WorldNet Daily's done a great job. They even have a new magazine where they wish Frank Marshall Davis on their WorldNet Weekly Happy Father's Day, because they're the only one recognizing and covering it. And the reason for this is because Obama's election was not a sudden political phenomenon. It was the result of an American socialist movement that for 30 years has been quietly infiltrating the economy, universities, and the media, such that we've gotten to the point where the so-called media is simply a extension of the Democratic Socialist Party and will not cover anything that reveals anything negative about Obama. We've come to a very frightening state of journalism and First Amendment in this country. This is incredible. Your film just came out. Are you authorizing folks to put this on Access Television or to have screenings if it's not for profit? We're inviting people to contact us on the website to schedule screenings so we can coordinate the screenings around the country. We have someone actually who's coordinating a very large screening in Charlotte, in North Carolina, for the same week as the Democratic Convention. So we're going to have a counter convention going. Oh yeah, this should be handed out everywhere. I mean, I would just recommend, because I know a little bit about viral campaigns, guerrilla campaigns. I would call for the screenings to be coordinated with press and stuff. That's great. But I would tell everybody to air it on Access Television as long as it has a link back to your website. Because I'm telling you, Access is one of the best secret weapons out there. If you authorize people to do that, if they email you, they will put it on and you can reach millions, because there are thousands of these channels, and in the aggregate, it's millions of viewers. Yeah, they should email us, and we'll approve those one by one. But you would think there are 100,000 journalists in this country, Alex, 100,000. You would think that one of them would want to win the Pulitzer Prize.
All they would have to do is look at the research in this film and put it in a newspaper on a website, and you've won the Pulitzer Prize. You've got the story of the century. You showed that the President of the United States ran for president and was elected on a false background, which he intentionally promoted to hide an agenda that was irreconcilable with American values. This is the story that has to be told, and that Americans should all buy the DVDs.
And I mean, even when he was a teenager in college, all these top communists treated Obama like he was royalty because he was the son of their god, the ultimate anti-American commie. We'll be right back.
We're on the march.
I tell you, you got to pray for Joel Gilbert. I can feel the angel of death's wings flapping around, even covering something like this. Because let me tell you, this is dangerous stuff. I've seen the film. My gut tells me this is Obama's daddy, and the evidence all points there. We know that guy in Kenya looks nothing like him. We know the State Department said it wasn't his dad and threw him out. We know Obama's got fake Social Security numbers. Well, the Social Security number of a dead person. The list goes on and on. The film is available by Joel Gilbert, Dreams of My Real Father, at InfoWarsShop.com, or by calling 888-253-3139. And he could charge $30 for a film like this. He charges $14.95. That's what we're selling it for. Get a free Citizen Rule book and InfoWars.com, bumper stickers and stuff when you order it at InfoWarsShop.com, or again, 888-253-3139. Everybody needs to get this. Call your neighbors over and show it to them. This is a very important film. It sold me. Everything, just click, 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 click. It's like, that's it. That is it. That is it. That is it. And then it's, again, it's in his daddy's, it just blows me away that he's got the same couch with his mother bending over on it. He says he goes over there when he's 10 every week with his grandfather, when he gets left there by his mother. He's the top commie leader involved in the foundations that later support Obama and treat him like royalty. When he's at Bill Ayers' house, when he's out of high school. I mean, this guy has absolutely been on the fast track with the commies and the big nasty globalist foundation that are funding them. I mean, this is just disgusting to see this going on. The voice is the same. The couch with his dad, Frank Marshall Davis, I'm calling him his dad now, sitting on it, and then his mother, all spread eagle on there with other women. This just absolutely is devastating. And it needs to get out there. This is unbelievable. Dreams from My Real Father, a story of Reds and Deception, directed by Joel Gilbert. One program note, I'm not doing the nightly news this week because I am trying to judge the reporter contest and make that announcement next week, which I will do next Thursday, maybe even earlier. I've already 99% chosen, the two reporters we're going to hire, the $10,000 in prizes, all the other stuff we're doing. But I should have added, there is a nightly news show every night. We had like an hour-long Max Kaiser interview premiere that was shot in Europe last night. A bunch of troops on the streets in Connecticut doing riot control at the Puerto Rico Day parade. We have just a lot coming up tonight as well. We're having a lot of old reports we did, best ofs mixed in with new breaking stuff. And I'll be back Monday night. It's just that we've been so busy. Every once in a while I'm going to do these pit stops because once we officially launch, it's already getting picked up by some TV systems, cable, and also in Europe. They just download it off the site, giving them permission. They edit it together and do weekly specials. Some cable systems are trying to take it live when we send it out. But when I put in the uplinks, everything else in the next phase, then we'll never be able to take a hiatus. And so I'm gearing up with more reporters, more people, more editors, because we've got a skeleton crew and we're never able to finish all the new projects because we're so busy just handling what we've got in front of us. So the next level is coming soon at InfoWars Nightly News. We have a 15-day free trial running right now. Prisonplanet.tv, weeknights, 7 o'clock Central. All my films, the video streaming live of this radio show, 3 hours a day. We call it InfoWars Live, all at Prisonplanet.tv. and you financing us. We're not funded by big globalist foundations like Obama is. We're funded by sponsors and by you supporting us. Okay, going back to Joel Gilbert, maker of Dreams from My Real Father. I'm just going to sit back for the next 10 minutes and give you the floor. I'm going to have to shut up because this is so riveting. I'm going to have to literally stick a sock in my mouth. And I've got so many questions. Then I'm going to open the phones up for specific questions for you. Okay? So listen, listeners, it's 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231, specifically for our guests. Joel, go ahead.
Okay, let me cover a few other important things. The film details and chronicles a lot of evidence that, of course, the father is Frank Marshall Davis, and what this means in terms of how Obama intentionally misled the public in order to get elected. But the film is an entire life journey. It's essentially a counter-autobiography. You can just replace Dreams from My Father, which is proven to be fairy tale, with Dreams from My Real Father, which is much, much closer to the complete truth. So we cover his entire life history, and I want to point out a very important area, because in this election, Obama keeps talking about how he inherited a problem state of economy because of George Bush's policies or the free market policies. Well, in fact, this state of affairs came about primarily because of the subprime mortgage crisis, and this started during the Clinton administration because it started actually in Chicago. And guess who was in on the subprime mortgage crisis? Creating the foundation for it was none other than Barack Obama. He lied in the debates with McCain when he said he only represented Acorn for the Motor Voter Act, which was a disaster on its own because we know the 9/11 hijackers had registered to vote under Motor Voter as well as a lot of other voter fraud. But Obama also represented Acorn in suing Citibank, and he forced them to change their policies, their lending policies, to reduce the criteria and charge them with racism. So Obama, when working for Davis Minor, forced Citibank to settle and lower their lending standards. And then Acorn wormed their way into the Clinton administration through Henry Cisneros. And it was Clinton who ordered the lowering of lending standards across all lending institutions, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. That's what led to the big crisis, subprime mortgage crisis that exploded at the end of the Bush administration. So it's Obama himself that helped start that process that we still are struggling with today. The socialists decided back in the 80s, and these were conferences that Obama attended, these socialist scholars conferences, that they would push the Democratic Party to the far left and force them to embrace socialism as their natural ideology through polarization. They would polarize the society amongst black and white, amongst economic classes. Now they have a new strategy. They've stopped talking about problem solving. Now Obama wants to help middle-class families. That's his new story. I have to make sure everyone understands. You don't have to hardly even Google it to realize that socialist economies do not have a middle class. They have one lower class where everybody's impoverished and the political elites control the wealth and simply consider everyone else as pawns. So when you see Obama talking about helping the middle class, he has disdain for the middle class. They cling to their guns and religion. And you can see that even some of the mainstream authors that are coming out, like David Moranis in his book, he detailed the fact that Obama's mother took him to Seattle when he was 3 weeks old. So the public is starting to realize that Obama's original nativity story is false. But they're not asking the next question. This film not only asks the question, provides the answer. What Moranis details, which we all knew this for some time, is that Obama's story that he had a loving family of improbable love, and when his father went to Harvard when he was 2 years old, the family broke up. That's a lie. We know that Obama's mother applied to move to Seattle in March of 1961, at the same time that the Kenyan Obama applied to extend his visa and for a work permit, and that 3 weeks after Obama's birth, he was in Seattle with his mother, while the Kenyan Obama remained in Hawaii for 1 more year. So knowing that this story is not true, we have to start looking at, well, what could be true? And what certainly is true is that there was no Obama family. The Kenyan is not related to Barack Obama at all. I don't call him Barack Obama Sr. because there never was a junior. Don't forget they called him Barack Obama II, which means another person. if it really was the son of, it would have called it Junior. So the Kenyan Obama is absolutely not related to the President of the United States. And the problem is that he built his political career on this fable